What's going on, guys? It's me once again, and today we have a major channel rebrand for you guys. I'm excited to talk about this whole rebranding in today's video, kind of like a major channel update in more particular, but this is kind of like more of a big change for my channel, and honestly, I've been on the talks of thinking about like doing this kind of like thing for quite a long time, but it kind of gets it to the point where I just want to do it right now. So without being said, everybody, this is gonna be the channel rebrand. Welcome everybody to DreamlinerFanHC. This is a name I've been wanting to think of for quite some time. I think I've been thinking about this name since the beginning of the year. Of course, like I've seen some recent channel rebrands like CM Aviation, JJ Aviation, and some other aviation YouTubers, but I just want to hop on this kind of like rebranding. Of course, I'm going to be talking about on why I'm going to be rebranding this channel to DreamlinerFanHC from DreamlinerFan 2016, which was my previous name. And yeah, like, it's going to be really interesting, I'll say, but I'm just super excited to talk about it in today's video. So without being said, I'm not going to waste further time, and we're just going to get started on why am I going to be rebranding from Dreamliner 2016, or just DreamlinerFan 2016, to DreamlinerFanHC. So let's get started. So kind of like my first talking point are like the reasons on why I'm going to be rebranding this channel. So kind of like, it's kind of like what's going to be happening, on why am I doing this, and what can be like the impact throughout the aviation community, excuse me. So without being said, I do want to talk about the first bullet points on my reasons on why I'm doing this. So the first reason I do want to provide you guys is I just want to like provide some kind of like clarity to my username. So kind of like, for instance, like, because like the previous name, which is DreamlinerFan 2016, the last parts about the name, which is basically Dreamliner Fan, which basically I'm a fan of the 787 Dreamliner, but then you have 2016, which it's just a year. And 2016 was the year on when I started thinking about an aviation career path. So back then, when I created this channel in nearly 8 years ago, I wanted to have that 2016 name so they can understand that 2016 was the, well, back then 2016 is perfect for that name, because like it's literally the first, it's the year where I started going to that aviation career path. But for the outside world, they think like, why is there Dreamliner Fan 2016 there? Is it because he started like in the 787 in 2016? Did he become an aviation fan in 2016? It's kind of really hard to from all the others on why they're thinking about this. So for this name, DreamlinerFanHC, I just took out the 2016s, the Dreamliner Fan stays, but this time I include HC, which is my first and last name initials. So I thought this could be a better approach to how my username is going to look like. And honestly, just by looking at DreamlinerFanHC, it's kind of like a much more easier way to say my name instead of 2016. Well, some people would say 2016 or 2016, but I think at least having one pronunciation is kind of like smooth, and overall I do like it. So of course, like DreamlinerFanHC, my first name is Henry, and my last name, I mean, I have some last names, but sometimes I would just like put Henry C as usually my name. I just left C as my last name initials, but for this one it's just gonna be HC as my first and last name initials. The second bullet point I do want to talk about, and I kind of mentioned this already, but it's a much more shorter name and an easier way to say. So as mentioned before, I would say Dreamliner Fan 2016, but some people would say Dreamliner Fan 2016. And I've seen some other aviation YouTubers that said my name say Dreamliner Fan 2016 or Dreamliner Fan 2016. So having one name rather than just have two different pronunciations on my names is rather like just better. So yeah, DreamlinerFanHC, and it's a much more easier way to say, because like sometimes in my videos whenever I record, I would sometimes mess up saying my name. I mean, I don't really mess up that much of my name, but I saw like having a much more shorter name is quite better. So instead of having like a long name, like DreamlinerFan 2016. Once again, like, that name consists of me as a Dreamliner fan, a 787 fan, and then you just have the year, which, yet again, it doesn't really make sense on why there's a year on if. And some people might confuse if I started liking aviation in 2016, I became a 787 fan in 2016. So just having the HC in there, I think it's a much more better approach once again. And honestly, it's more cleaner rather than just like, you know, like having 2016 and yeah, all that stuff. But yeah, it's a much more clear name, it's a much more shorter name to pronounce, and an easier way to say my name. So DreamlinerFanHC. So yeah, that's kind of like the overall look of it. Next up, I do want to give you guys the third bullet point for the reasonings. It has a global outlook. So once again, it kind of like take that perspective if you like. I mean, how can I think of this? I mean, CM Aviation did talk about it on his channel rebrand from Red River Aviation to CM Aviation. I'm trying to think about that global outlook. But yeah, once I think global outlook, from what I can tell, is like at least have a name that many people would recognize. So kind of like, what kind of like outlook can it impact to everybody and how they see my name? Maybe they might be able to easily think about it and then have a better understanding on why I'm going into this like channel name. So I think that's one of the reasons on how I can think about the global outlook. But yet again, it's better off to have like a name like DreamlinerFanHC, like have a reasoning on one specific topic, and then you have like another kind of like deal where you had to like come up with something. Of course, like what if it's your name? I was kind of like thinking about like having other rebrand names like Dreamliner Aviation, Dreamliner Fan Aviation. I think that's a little bit too long. Or HC Dreamliner Fan. I saw those those usernames aren't really that perfect. Or Dreamliner or HC Aviation. I was thinking about something like that. But it all came down of thinking about DreamlinerFanHC, which I think is a much more better name. And I think from all the other people's perspectives from like all around the world, I think they can better understand on why I have this like channel name in the first place moving forward. And honestly, overall, it's just like, we'll see on how everybody can understand my username. I don't know if I pronounce it like, I don't know if I explain that correctly, but it's kind of like something like that. Like, what's the outlook to everybody who views my channel? Something like that. So yeah, that's it for the reasonings. Now, what is the impact that's going to be having on my YouTube channel? So, first bullet point I do want to talk about is nothing will change in terms of the content I uploaded, excuse me. So yeah, like nothing changes. I'll still have the unboxings, I'll still have the flight reports, have the in-flight videos, all the plane spotting videos, so everything doesn't change, rather just like everything else, like intros and outros, which speaking of that, I'll be talking about that on that second bullet point. So I'll be having a different style of intro and outro. So of course, back then I would say during my intros, what's going on guys, it's me, DreamlinerFan 2016 here. But moving on forward, I'll have videos, I'll say, what's going on guys, it's me, DreamlinerFanHC here. And yeah, those are kind of like the videos moving forward. I actually do have some pre-recorded content videos, like pre-recorded videos that still feature the what's going on guys, it's me, DreamlinerFan 2016 here intro. So there are a couple of videos that still have my old intro featuring the 2016, but the future videos I'll be making moving forward will have the HC tiles in it. And of course, I'll be styling a bit of my outro differently because quite often I keep messing up my outro a couple of times, which honestly, like, I just keep like restarting and all that stuff, kind of like re-record and all this stuff. So I do want to style this outro quite shorter than before, and kind of like just a better way to like say my outro in that case. So yeah, those are the only differences you're gonna be seeing on future videos, but in terms of like the content, everything is gonna remain the same. Third bullet point I do want to talk about is the global recognition everybody's gonna be having. So kind of like talking about on the reasonings on the global outlook, I would like to see if everybody, like, I would like to see everyone who comes up on my channel remember my name. Well, not really remember, but like recognize my name in a way. Some people might call me Dreamliner Fan, Dreamliner Fan HC. Heck, you can even call me from my previous name, Dreamliner Fan 2016, or you could just say HC or Henry. that's kind of like what I mean by global recognition, is for everybody, like pretty much every aviation enthusiast from around the world to really recognize my name and kind of like all the aspects. Well, I've seen a lot of people say Dreamliner Fan. I do like to be called Dreamliner Fan. It's kind of like a much more shorter name, or sometimes you can call me HC, maybe something like that, or just Henry. But other than that, that's kind of like my kind of point of view of like global recognition. And the final bullet point I do want to talk about is a new chapter for my love of aviation. So of course, me as an aviation enthusiast, I've been an aviation enthusiast since I was a kid. I do want to like advance a little more for my love for aviation. Of course, I've been working as an airline ramper for Hawaiian Airlines, so that's kind of like my lead to becoming part of the aviation industry, which of course, as you can see by those other bullet points, so it can have an impact on my private pilot career to commercial pilot career, and then of course my view with the airline industry, of course. But of course, that's kind of like the way on how I kind of look at it. But overall, just me as myself, like as an aviation enthusiast, I do want to have that like true love for aviation in my heart, because like the aviation community is just an outstanding community, and it's just really amazing to be part of the airline industry and this community overall. But it's just really fun, and getting to meet new people is just like really amazing from around the world. Going to these like aviation conventions, Airliners International, Spot LAX, and all these airline one-day shows, it really helps out recognizing all the aviation enthusiasts in their regions. Heck, I would see some aviation enthusiasts from different parts of the world, like more in particularly in the Asia region, since I would go there every single year. But that's kind of like the main topics and all the bullet points I do want to talk about doing for this channel Rebrand. And I do want to give you guys a slideshow on like all the various topics and the reasons, bullet points I mentioned in this video. I kind of did explain it on a voice recording, so I do want to show you guys the slideshow about this whole reasoning on why I'm going to be rebranding this channel. So with that being said, I'm going to move forward to my MacBook, and we're going to see the slideshow presentation on my channel Rebrand. So with that being said, let's move into that portion. And here are all the bullet points I listed down on a Google slideshow talking about my channel's rebrand. So as mentioned on the voice recording, this is kind of like joined in just like one slideshow. So like it kind of explains the reasons and impacts on my channel's rebrand. So as you can see, as mentioned before, for the reasons, it provides a clarity to my name. So from changing like 2016 to HC for a year to my initials, it's a much more shorter name and easier way to say. And it's much more clean too, and like the global outlook to like what is expected for many aviation enthusiasts that are going to be coming to my channel. And pretty much the impact is nothing is going to be changing. Once again, a different style of intro and outro as mentioned on the voice recording, a global recognition, excuse me, because like I do want to see if many people will understand my username. So yeah, I kind of like having that wider audience from around the world, something like that. And pretty much this name change is kind of like proceeding on what my future career is for aviation. So whether it be, because like I'm going after a pilot, so like a professional pilot, so I want to at least get a private pilot to a commercial pilot, and then kind of like get into the airline industry, since it's kind of like really fun to like talk about the airline industry now and then. But still, this whole channel rebrand name is going to be a huge impact to my channel and kind of like moving forward for the next couple of years. So not sure when the next channel rebrand name is going to be, but for now, this is like literally the first time since like I never changed my username until now, since the beginning of this YouTube channel, DreamlinerFan 2016 formerly. So yeah, this is kind of like a really interesting change. Let me know what you guys think of this name, and overall, I'm just super excited to use this name for many years to come and see how it impacts the aviation community and all of you guys watching this video. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and turn on that post notification bell so you won't miss a new upload anytime soon from me. And yeah, that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Good night.